Alright, hopefully you guys can hear me if you start joining in. I know this is on a little bit of a delay, so it's weird for me to watch this because I have Work Adventure here and I'm in this conference room. So if you join me on workadventure.opensourceisawesome.com, you'll pop up right in here in this main area. Just come down through this door and to the left and you'll see where I'm at here, and it basically starts a Jitsi meet. You don't have to have your camera if you don't want to. If you want to, great. I'd love to see everybody, and make sure your mic is working, but make sure you can mute down here as well. Yeah, we'll get started here in just a few minutes. So if anybody catches this and is trying to get caught up, at least I've given you a little bit of information. I'll repeat it again as people start to join, possibly. Does YouTube give me the link to the live stream? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Yeah. Hello. How are you doing? I can't hear you. I don't know if you're muted. I can see you're talking. Oh, my stream is trying to catch up apparently. That's never a good sign. Let's see if it'll fix itself here in a second. I'm going to be pushing this machine just too far. Who knows? Oh, let's see. Yeah, we've got a few people joining. What? 852 by 480, that's not right. Should be streaming my whole screen. Let me see if I can fix this. Maybe. Can you guys online see the stream again? Can you hear me? Hopefully, at this point, maybe. Yep, you're headed the right direction if you're on the Work Adventure there. You should be joining the Jitsi meet here in a second. Come on into that room, that's where I'm at. There you go. See a few people trying to join. I don't know why it's not joining. I think when you come in, you have to kind of be still for a minute or it'll close the Jitsi meet back down. There we go, there's a couple of people popping up. How's it going, guys? We'll get started with everything here in just a minute. I want to make sure the stream's going to stay stable. Let's see, I've got text messages over here. Yeah, howdy. Good morning, good morning. You hear me? Great. Yes, good. Okay, I'm glad you can hear me again. I don't know, YouTube's giving me a weird message about the resolution, but I have it set to 1920 by 1080 on OBS, but it says it's 852 by something. And it looks like it's reloading again. I don't know what's going on with YouTube today. Let me restart the stream here. There we go. Looks like it came back up. I'm not sure what's going on with it's probably because I'm trying to use like 4 different things that are capturing the camera and trying to do things. I don't know. Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. You guys in the room hear me okay? There should be a little chat feature. Yeah, there we go. It opens up. Hey, cool. YouTube streams working fine. Okay, very recently subscribed. Thanks. Good. I'm glad. Appreciate that. And I'm blind as a bat, so you're going to see my forehead a lot if I have to get close enough to read the screen. Sorry. We'll give people a chance to get online here. We've got 19 people on the YouTube stream. That's good. We've got a few people here in the room. If other people can find the room, that'll be great. I should have put like an usher out in the main hallway out there. I guess. I don't know. But I'm excited to try this and see how it works. I use Jitsi Meet with my coworkers every week at the end of the week just to have kind of a decompressed time, and it's always a lot of fun. So I kind of enjoy Jitsi Meet from that perspective. I see JT just entered the room with us. That's great. All right. It is just about that time. I just wanted to talk today. You know, all of my videos, of course, are about open source, about streaming, not streaming, what am I talking about? Sorry, streaming is what's on my mind because I'm looking at the YouTube stream to make sure it's still going. All my videos are about open source and self-hosting. Hey, if you come to the south there, through that room, we're down here in this little conference room. You can come through this door right here. Excuse me while I drink a little water. I'm sorry, I've been outside working in the yard and it's hot here already today. So all of my videos are about open source, self-hosting, things like that, which is great. And there was an article not too long ago. If you guys aren't part of the self-hosted Reddit subreddit, you should definitely go over and check out reddit.com/r/self-hosted. They have tons of self-hosted articles. They have lots of people that ask questions, and a lot of times those questions pertain to a question you might have, which is great. I get so many ideas from the self-hosted Reddit, honestly, that I really enjoy doing it. Hey, good morning, guys. I see you guys joining the room here. If you feel like chiming in, by the way, just speak up, raise your hand or whatever that little thing is. I guess I guess I'll notice something on the screen here. If I don't, just keep kind of clicking it till I notice. But if you want to chat something, feel free to do it that way too. And I'll try to watch the chat over here on the YouTube side occasionally, guys. It goes pretty fast, but I'll look at it occasionally and try to answer. But I wanted to talk about self-hosting and open source just in general. Open source is amazing. I love open source software. Work Adventure, these guys that are making this software, it's really cool. That's why I wanted to try this today to see what it'll do. My server might crash here in a minute. It's a 4 gig DigitalOcean server, so depending on how many people join this thing, who knows, we may crash it. I don't know. But I really wanted to give it a shot and see what we could do and kind of get on here and see how everybody's doing. Hey, good morning. I see you there.
Hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Yeah. It looks like it's being picked up on the YouTube side. If the guys on the YouTube stream could tell me if you can hear them as well, that'd be great. Anybody that can chat in the room. It's about a 15-20 second delay. I see it spinning again, so I honestly don't know if the YouTube stream is staying up or not. That kind of drives me crazy over there on the side, but we'll give it a chance to catch up here and see if it catches back up in a minute. Hopefully it will, and then they'll just hear what I'm saying. It'll just keep playing through. The open source and self-hosted stuff is amazing. I love open source software, of course. That's what my entire channel is about. But self-hosting, I kind of want to talk about kind of the pros and cons of self-hosting. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword sometimes. You have this issue sometimes. Let's see, somebody's chatting here. Yeah, you can hear them. Okay, great. Thank you. So is the stream still going? Because honestly, on my side, it's just got a spinner, and I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Okay, cool. His Mac just rebooted. That's terrible. So yeah, self-hosting, the cool thing about self-hosting is that you're running it yourself. It can be on your own hardware. It can be on a VPS. You're in control of it for the most part, regardless of where you run it, which is the great thing about self-hosting. But the hard thing about self-hosting is also that you're in control of it. So if it's just for you, a lot of times that value proposition is definitely much higher, right? But when it's for you and other people, like I run my Jellyfin server and I have my mom is set up with an account so she can watch shows that she likes that I've got and movies that she likes that I've got. I have an account, of course, so my wife and I can watch things that we enjoy and stuff like that. But, the more people I add to it, the more it makes me nervous about having it there and that it may not perform well. And when that happens, because you're the one who's hosting it, of course, you're the one who's the IT support for it, and you're the one who people call. And honestly, when they're trying to watch TV, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of your workday or not. They're going to send you a message to see if you can, stop real quick and fix the problem. And you have no idea what's going on, right? You have to kind of go look at it and see what's happening. But that's kind of that side of self-hosting that you have to be a little bit worried about too, is that it really falls on you to make sure everything's done correctly. So the benefit of a lot of these open source companies that build this software like Work Adventure or Jitsi or any of those others, Jitsi is provided for free, which is amazing to me. That company, they have different revenue streams, so they provide this for free, which is awesome. You can run Jitsi yourself absolutely on your own hardware, but I think it's really cool that they run meet.jit.si for free for you to kind of jump into a room and do what you want. And they've really added a ton of features, of course, with COVID and everything. A lot of the virtual meeting software has improved tremendously because they had to, which is great. But Jitsi's an amazing product too. But a lot of these companies provide hosting solutions for you that say, we're going to help you host this thing. You pay us a little bit every month. There's a benefit to that when you start thinking about if it's not just you, or if you don't want to have that responsibility, or if you're worried about data loss, or if you're worried about uptime or things like that, where maybe it's not something you want to take on as a person just in your personal life, where you're trying to get your family to meet up 2 or 3 times a week virtually or across the world, or who knows, right? But at the same time, where you have maybe a responsibility to a company. Maybe you're trying to get your company to switch to open source software and telling them, hey, we could run this for free on our own hardware. Sounds really good, but really there's an investment there that your company makes, and there's an investment there that everybody else tries to understand, and that your company needs to understand that there's going to be time from the IT staff or whoever's running that server to make sure it's up and running. And when it's down, your bosses are not going to be happy, right? They want it back up. It's just going to be like anything else with IT. They want that stuff up and running and available as much as possible. So again, I think open source software can absolutely serve the needs of 90% of the companies in the world. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be able to. I think that they don't get the name recognition because they don't have the marketing department that a lot of the big private companies have. And I think that a lot of times, because it's open source, they think that it's inferior software, which is a shame, because open source software is completely amazing. And the more you get people to use it, of course, and the more you get people on it, the more feedback the developers get and the more it improves. I mean, if you look at some of these projects, look at Home Assistant. I did a series on Home Assistant, and there's some great Home Assistant channels out there that do such a better job than I did. You should definitely go check them out if you're interested in that. But look at that project. It's 8 years old at this point. Now they're starting to build their own hardware, which is an awesome step, right? I mean, that to me says they feel like they are successful and they're going to continue to be successful. But they handle so many things about making your home a smart home, and they do it in such a way that it's very, once you kind of get used to the user flow, it's very intuitive, it's very easy to follow, and they really stick with the same flow over and over. So that makes it really great. I think that's one of the best things about something like Home Assistant and about just open source software in general. I can't explain how hard it is to get people to understand that open source doesn't mean inferior by any stretch of the imagination, but that it does mean there's a different level of investment and a different level of involvement sometimes. Again, a lot of these companies provide options for you to use their servers, and that's how they fund and keep the open source project going, which is tremendous to me as well. I love open source from that perspective. And I try to pay a little bit out. I have a Patreon. I've got Patreon users. I'm trying to watch the YouTube comments here too. I want to make sure that people can get on and hear me. Yeah, the 480p thing, I know it's telling me that, but I swear I'm streaming 1920 by 1080. I'm looking at it right here on OBS, and it's definitely streaming my entire screen, which is 1920 by 1080. So I don't know why it's coming through at 480p. That's kind of weird. It could just be that my bandwidth cannot push enough. I've got 12 megabit up, and that's all I get out of my ISP. So it could be that I can't stream while I'm running Work Adventure and all the other stuff. I don't know. I don't think that would be the limitation, but it could be. So I apologize if it's just not coming through very well for you guys. Hopefully YouTube will catch up here in a minute. I don't think that my bandwidth is down today. It doesn't appear to be. I mean, I'm able to connect everything, so hopefully it's running all right. So guys on YouTube, be patient with me. I'm definitely trying to let this thing catch up. I keep seeing it spinning, so I don't know why, if it's buffering or what's happening here. This is the first time I've tried to do this with like a you know, something like Work Adventure going. I don't really think it takes that much bandwidth though, honestly. I'm kind of watching my bandwidth charts here. Let me open up one other thing and I'll kind of check what's happening here on my machine. Let's see if I can find the right NIC here. I'm definitely not on the wireless, I'm on the wired. Yeah, I mean my transfer rate's only like 450 kilobytes a second, which is not anywhere near what my network can do, so it shouldn't be having any issues here. And I don't know if the YouTube stream is still up or not. It shows that it is, but it's just got a spinner in the middle of it. It's kind of weird that I see that buffering like that. I'm going to continue. Hopefully you guys can hear me on YouTube. Hopefully this isn't a complete fail. We'll find out. But the whole thing I love about open source software is just that it's so powerful. So I'm about to let out a video this Tuesday called about a project called Navidrome. So last year I did Apache, so, you know, a year or more ago, I don't know, you know, for music streaming, and it's great. I love Apache, but I did get an update that seems to have just broken it, and I don't know what happened. I checked my logs, and everything looks like it should be working. I went and checked all the network stuff, made sure all my ports were still forwarded the exact same way. Couldn't reach it. You know, when I go to the IP, it gets an error page. When I go to the URL, it gets an error page. So something weird happened with my Apache install. I thought, well, this is a good time for me to check out some of the other streaming servers anyway. So I checked out MStream and Navidrome, and I'll do one on MStream later. Navidrome is great. It uses the AirSonic API, which lets us basically you know, stream to a you know, smartphone like this through the subsonic apps that they have out there. And I really like it. Navidrome is a really cool piece of software. And it basically frees me up from iTunes, right? I mean, I use an iPhone, which is great, and iTunes is fine, but you know, I've really started moving more from the Mac stuff to the Linux stuff. Now I've got a little Mac that I use back here with my piano setup and stuff, because it's, I still prefer GarageBand over the stuff that I get on open source. Just today, only because I see that open source is getting better, and I'm watching those projects, and I use those projects to try to see what they're doing. And they're getting much better. They're getting much closer. But the simplicity, because all I want to do is bring up a piano sound and start playing. I don't want to have to load up 75 different programs and make them link together with Jack and all that kind of stuff. Literally, when I want to sit down to play the piano, I want to sit down and play the piano. That's it. So yeah, I see some chat. I want to make sure. Let's see. Trying to join, but my not connecting. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Calvin, I don't know why your headset won't connect. That's interesting. You're the one on the Mac, right? So, I mean, usually it just picks it up. So if you're looking for us, if you're looking for us over here on the thing, we're in this conference room down here. As you come into the main area, it's got the green, I think that is, squares. If you come down through that little door to the, I guess I'd call that south, to the bottom of your screen, and then turn left, arrow left to go into this conference room. That's where we're all out. If you're at the water cooler, come into the conference room with us. But yeah, that's where we're hanging. So I'm trying to read the comments on the YouTube side too, guys. Sorry about that. Hopefully the YouTube people can hear us. It's just got the spinner on the screen for me. It's not showing me what's happening. So, but my network bandwidth is not anywhere near max. So hopefully you're able to hear me fine. Cool. All right. So yeah. Yeah, Navidrome I'm excited about, because it's a really cool project. It's easy to install, it's easy to run, it's easy to self-host, and what that led me to was another program. Hey, hello, I see some people joining here with the Jitsi Meet, which is awesome. What that led me to is that in the short term, I think I can expand this a little bit, can I? No. Oh, it's not expanding either way. Oh yeah, it does. Look, there it goes. Just took a second. Yeah, so with something like Navidrome, with trying to get my music on there, I really wanted my album art. So when you watch the video, you'll see that I don't have a lot of album art on there. And I was like, okay, why is my album art not getting set up? So I started reading about it, and because, you know, some applications use album art as a JPEG in the same folder where the music is, and some applications use album art as embedded tags on the actual file, right, as a meta tag on the file. So I guess I didn't realize that, and so I went out and got Music Brains BR. Ever heard of that one? And there's a really cool open source application built on that called Picard, like Captain Picard from Star Trek Next Generation. And basically, when you install that thing on Linux, Windows, Mac OS, doesn't matter. You can point it at your music collection, and it'll just start scanning that music collection, and then you can tell it, okay, go find all of these tags for me and identify these things. And anything it can identify, we found the limit of a 4 gigabyte DigitalOcean server. workadventure.opensourcesawesome.com. Let's see if I can get back in. No, it's down. It is down. Alright, is my stream coming back at least? Yeah, I see my stream. And hey, great, my stream is now not spinning, and it's just in time for you to see my server crash. Alright, I'm going to continue without the stream for now. We'll see if it comes back in a minute. There's my network bandwidth. So yeah, that was using up a little bit more, but I mean, still, it's there's my transfer rate right there, 220. I mean, it might have been using twice that, but still, I get a lot more than that upload speed. So that's interesting that thing finally crashed and burned. I'd have to go SSH into that server and try to bring it back up, I imagine. You guys want to watch me do that? I'm sure you'd love to see me do that manually while you're sitting here on the live stream. But yeah, Music Brains Picard is an awesome application. I really like it. But yeah, it brings me back to the thing of, one thing I do appreciate about Apple and iTunes and stuff like that is, yeah, you pay for like Apple Music or something like that. But at the same time, if I lose my iPhone, if I drop my iPhone, if I break my iPhone, if I, whatever it is that happens to have all my music on it, with Apple or with whoever you might be using, right? If you're using somebody else for music streaming, they've got your music. You log back into your account and you get your music back. I mean, that's a pretty awesome value proposition when you think about it. Whereas, yeah, I mean, my music technically is on my server, but if my server dies, again, I've got to go get that music back, or I've got to make sure that I've got my backups set and running like they should be, which is great, and things like UR backup help with that kind of stuff, right? But, and I say UR backup, and somebody said it's your backup. As long as I'm back up, I don't care. It's either way. So yeah, let's see. Let's SSH into workadventure.opensourcesawesome.com. All right, the server is not down. That's always a good sign. And let's do work adventure. Yes, and let's do Docker compose restart. All right, it says that it restarted. It didn't want to go. Did I misspell it? Maybe I misspelled it. So here's the easier thing I can do. I probably misspelled it. There we go. Hey, it's me. Let me switch. No, it's on the right one. Analog, good. All right, here I is again. There's a whole bunch of people running around in here. Somebody's starting a meeting with me. I'm gonna go down to the conference room. Follow me. Yeah, here we go. This way. This way. This way. Keep coming. This way. No, the other way. Yeah. Woo. Here we are. All right. So I don't know if my machine crashed or if the whole server crashed, but here we is. Okay. Hey, I'm back. All right, guys, I don't know, did you guys all get booted, or was it just me? Was I just the lucky one?
We all got booted.
You all got booted. Okay, so it crashed, yeah, so I went in and restarted with Docker. Sorry. I guess we found out that about 8 to 10 people on a 4 gigabyte DigitalOcean server kills it whenever you're trying to run Work Adventure and Jitsi Meet. So we might kill it again here in a minute, I don't know. Yeah, so that gives you an idea what the resources can do. Hey, good test for Work Adventure. Now you guys know if you want to do more than that, you probably need a bigger, beefier server than a 4 gigabyte DigitalOcean droplet. But that's cool. That's how you learn, right? You you have a fail like that and try to fix it.
Got a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So are you feeding the connection from your Work Adventure out to DigitalOcean, then DigitalOcean into YouTube?
No, so Work Adventure is actually running on DigitalOcean Droplet, and then this Jitsi Meet is actually running through meet.jit.si, so I just set it to go straight to Jitsi Meet. I'm not using my own Jitsi Meet server for this. But yeah, so Work Adventure is really the thing that's using up most of the bandwidth. But because this is an iframe, I'm guessing that Jitsi Meet's probably feeding through that server a little bit, anyways. I don't really know exactly how that works, but I mean it's been doing pretty good, considering that we're kind of hitting it a little bit harder here than I've tried. I've only had a couple of people on at a time in the past, so yeah, we'll kind of see. I got some guys really running around up there. He's got his companion with him. That's what it is, a little dog.
I was asking because you was talking about the 480p on YouTube, and it sounds like it might be a bandwidth issue or somewhere the transcoding may be the problem.
It may be, yeah. I mean, I just set up OBS on this machine, so I'm out of my office just because my family's in the house and they're having to do some stuff today. And usually they can be pretty quiet for me when I stream, which is, again, like once every couple of months, right? So, but today I knew they had to do some stuff, so I didn't want to ask them to try to keep everything quiet while I'm in there. But yeah, the stream for YouTube, I don't know why. It says 1920 by 1080 right here, and I mean it's my screen. I've got my whole screen set up, so I don't know why it's doing. It's got to be a transcoding thing. I mean, it could be bandwidth, but I've got my bandwidth stuff up, and it's only using like 400 kilobits a second, which is definitely not anywhere near my max bandwidth upload. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
If you want to troubleshoot, I've tinkered with OBS and things that I can help you if you want to do screen share and stuff like that.
Well, I don't want to stop the live stream though. If we make a change, I don't know if that's going to fix it. Do you know? I mean, do I have to stop the live stream to fix something?
No, we can just look at the settings. We don't have to change anything. We can just look at it. That way we can get an answer if this or that.
All right. Can you see it? Well, can you see it? I have to screen share this, right? Let's see. How's this? We're going to find out what this does. I don't have any of my controls on the Jitsi Meet thing. What's going on? None of my controls are popping up. That's interesting. Let me leave the room and come back in and see if it gives me my controls. Give me just a second. Yeah, there they are. Alright, there we go. Now I can see, there's a lot of chat messages too, guys. I'm sorry, I've been missing all the chat messages going on here. As a 2D game, using it more references, more sources than a... Yeah, who knows. This may be good feedback for the Work Adventure guys. I don't know. Let's see, can I screen share? I don't even see the option for screen share.
Yeah, because my options are in the bottom right-hand corner underneath all the video.
Yeah.
Me.
Stop sharing your screen. Yeah, I'm clicking the button, but it's not letting me. Well, because I'm also like using OBS I don't know, that could be an issue where OBS owns the screen right now. Oh no, it popped up when I clicked that. That's really weird. Okay. Let's see, entire screen. What's that going to look like? Oh, that's two screens. We don't want that. All right. This is screen 1, I think. Oh, we just need to share OBS. I don't know. How come it doesn't separate my screens? I'll try OBS. Let's see what that does. Yeah, there we go. Allow. Alright, did that do what I expected it to do? You said settings, right? Settings. Where'd that go? There it is. Can you see the settings?
Let me pull it up. Hold on. I opened up my OBS and it wound up changing all my screen around. I had to figure out where that was at.
Oh.
There
let
we go.
Let me go back to
no,
screen
wasn't you.
share.
It was on my side.
Okay.
Alright. Once we're looking at settings, and you see where it says, okay, you got your stream and your stream key.
Yep.
And do you see where it says max minimum bit?
No, on mine it just has a stream and the stream key, and that's it. There's like a little checkbox that says ignore streaming service setting recommendations. I guess I need to check that.
Okay. So when you go down below from the next settings, go look at video.
Oh, video specifically. Okay. Look at that. We're getting troubleshooting on the go.
And once you're looking at video as the output, and that's going to be your scaled resolution.
Ah, yeah. I can't change it though because I'm streaming. I guess it's grayed out right now.
Does it say 480 there, or does it say something different?
Yeah, it says like the 853 by 480. That's probably why it's showing up that way.
So the output stream is limiting your output. That's 480 there.
Yeah. All right, so I'm getting way too close to the camera for my own comfort, to be honest. I don't like to see
My
myself
camera's sitting
that
on my
big.
secondary monitor.
Yeah. Well, see, I have to get so
there you
close to
go.
the screen to see anything. Well, thank you. I will fix that for the future. I wish I had known about that beforehand. That would have been awesome. All right.
I've spent many times trial and error with OBS because I'll play a little video game on my iPad and I'll live stream it with people. And I've tinkered with all the settings and features, and you learn on the go relatively quickly.
Yeah. Well, this is my third live stream, and yeah, I'm still not very good at it, obviously. So YouTube guys, I'm sorry. That's why you're getting such low resolution, because yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with OBS. But I'll fix that after this is done, and next time it'll be better. So there you go. It's just like a regular video. You can't see anything I'm doing, and you can hear me talk for hours about nothing. So it's great. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, really. So I wanted to talk to you guys about your self-hosting experiences. If you guys are willing to chime in a little bit, don't run away. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But yeah, the stuff that I self-host, I mean, you see every week all the things that I've got up and running, basically, and I add things every week. But I'd say at home, I've got two different machines that I use for servers. One's a laptop, one's a desktop, and the laptop's got like 15 containers running on it. The desktop's got 18 or 19 containers running on it now. Now some of that's Portainer Agent, and some of that's Nginx Proxy Manager, and some of the stuff that goes with that. But for the most part, it's a lot of self-hosted stuff. So the thing I'm interested for you guys is what do you self-host today, and what would you say is the thing you despise self-hosting the most since you started self-hosting it? Or is there anything like that? And you can answer in the chat too on YouTube. I'm interested to hear from you guys too. Anybody feel like talking in the Jitsi Meet room? It's okay, you guys don't have to, for sure. I see chat messages. Let's see. I need a 3090 GPU. You just built Kubernetes with Rancher. That's awesome. With Helm, you're braver than me, because that's what they're using in TrueNAS Scale right now is Helm, and I've been trying to figure out Helm charts, and oh my gosh, I feel like happy that I can do Docker, much less Helm. That's a whole other world to me. Yeah, the Helm charts are something else. It might be worth asking, throwing that out there to the TrueNAS guys. The True Charts team, I guess, is the one who really does most of those things that are on TrueNAS, but that list has gotten just massive now, too, when you go look at the options that you have to run on TrueNAS Scale with all of the Helm charts they've got there now. Yeah, like a new Docker Compose. Yeah, exactly, and I barely figured out Docker Compose. A lot of people say on self-hosted Reddit, again, this is another one that I see all the time, is somebody says, I want to run my own mail server, can anybody point me to a good guide? And the first thing I see from about half of them is like, you don't really want to do that. It's a pain in the butt. Just go pay for, XYZ. And I really, with Mail in a Box, I don't have to do much with it. It just does its thing. Like, I don't I guess I don't know where they're running into issues unless these are like IT guys who are having to run a mail server for like a company or something, which I can imagine is a major pain. But really, I mean, honestly, Mail in a Box just sits there and does its thing, and it tells me once in a while, hey, you need to run updates, and I go run updates, and that's it. I really haven't had to do much to keep it running. It just kind of keeps running. So
One of the problems with running your own mail server is that most people are on dynamic IPs.
yeah,
And majority of the world has blocked those IP pools of everybody. So when you send email, those emails get rejected, and that is a very much point of contention. Right now, I actually use an Exchange server hosting provider, and my ISP blocks access to that Exchange server.
oh my gosh, really?
Yep. So if I open up Outlook and try to send an email, it will fail without a doubt. And if I pull it from my iPad and use the built-in app, or use it from my iPhone with the built-in app, it works fine. If I do the Outlook web access, it works fine. But from Outlook, they block it. And
Wow.
the ISP told me just so that you need to pay for a business account.
Oh my gosh. ISPs are the word. I have to be honest. I have Spectrum. I don't know what you have, but I don't run my mail server at home. I run it on a VPS for that reason, because I didn't want to have to deal with dynamic IPs. It gets a static IP. It's a really inexpensive box. It's like a $5 DigitalOcean, maybe $10. I can't remember a month. So I may have gotten it bigger because I run 2 domains out of it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely I can see the dynamic IP stuff having a problem. I got to say Spectrum provides decent service, as long as it's up. I've never had a real issue with them. And the dynamic IP thing, mine, they only change it like if I get disconnected from power for more than 8 hours. So when I have a power outage that lasts more than 8 hours, then my IP changes, and then I've got like DNS, or I've got one called GoDaddy DNS that goes and changes my routemehome.org IP to whatever the new thing is, and everything works fine. I haven't tried to run a mail server out of here, but yeah, the business account thing is definitely that's a scam to me.
It's not the dynamic IP address yourself that changes. Is that ASPs give out to each other who their users' IP addresses is versus their business IP addresses.
Gotcha.
So when other companies look at your IP address, they know that you are a consumer account versus a business account, and they by default block all the consumer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So IP address changes that causes the problem is that when you connect to whoever that mail server is, your IP is sent across with it, and it looked at it, and because I tried this years ago, I set up my own little mail server and sent an email, and they kept getting rejected. And after several hours of digging through the error logs, I finally got the answer. I was like, this is horrible, because I'm part of this IP range. I can't send it. It was like, yeah, you need to pay for it. IP, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the IP address, because most
Blacklisted.
ISPs,
Yeah.
yep, they
Yeah.
blacklist everybody's consumer IP ranges. They don't blacklist the commercial IP ranges. I'm like, so if I give you $500 more a month, then I can all of a sudden now send emails with no problem. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Okay, so yes, and the ISP stuff is, yeah, the business account thing has always to me been a bit of a scam, because like, well, if you want higher upload bandwidth where you can run your own server, you got to pay for a business account. Why? These days they have enough bandwidth to let you have what you need to run a server. I mean, I'm running servers on 12 gigabytes, and it's not like I'm trying to serve the whole world. I'm serving my family and myself, right? This is not. I get, like, you want to run a business, you want to do something, yeah, you need to have like a server that's made for doing things on business. But yeah, I mean, when it's just for me to do for myself, I mean, this is the reason we do self-hosting, right? We want to get around their blocks and get around the things they try to do, and VPNs help with that a lot too. But again, yeah, I mean, yeah, mail servers, I understand where they're coming from that perspective. But I always got the feeling it was just, also the thing of just running a mail server in general made the self-hosters a little bit upset. But it could depend on how you're doing it too. If you're trying to do it manually, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of steps to set up a mail server. That's why I like Mail in a Box. It kind of runs all those scripts for you and gets things set up and really puts it together pretty nicely. But so digital, let's see, where are you? Yeah, there you go, Digit Eagle. So he asked if I could point out the pros of self-hosting a little bit more. Yes, there are a lot of pros to self-hosting, and that is control of your data. That is ownership of your data. That's control of your system. That's control over admin access to everything that you're trying to accomplish. And that's one of the great benefits of it. That, yeah, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that you shouldn't self-host. I love self-hosting. I love doing it. My family rarely asks me for something special that I can't figure out how to do or do. And honestly, the stuff that I self-host, the reason I pick it is that it looks like it's got a low barrier to entry and a low maintenance cost, and honestly, a very, very high return on my investment of time. So when I need to run something or I want to run something, that's the way that I look at it. As, could I just run a bunch of other stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Do I need to run that thing? Is there a purpose to running it? Is it just something that I'm going to have to maintain that I'm not really getting any benefit out of? And I went through maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago through all of my self-hosted stuff, even out on my SSD node server, and kind of looked at it and said, okay, am I still using this? And if not, do I need it? And I took down a lot of the servers that I was running because I didn't. They were things that I set up for testing and things that I set up that I thought, I might want to use this at some point, and I didn't ever go back to it. And it's kind of like when you box up stuff to move, and then you put all of that stuff in the attic because you didn't have time to unpack it, and 3 years later you go to the attic and look at it and you're like, if I haven't needed it in 3 years, do I really need to have it? It's time to have a garage sale, right? It's time to go and give stuff away to somebody else who might use it. So to me, it's really about that return on investment, DigitalEagle. So I mean, if you've got something that you love self-hosting, and you've got something where you want that control over what you might get with like proprietary software, it's absolutely worth it. Don't misunderstand at all what I'm saying here. Self-hosting is the absolute most amazing thing in the world. To me, it's more about, do I need the thing I'm self-hosting? Sometimes I set stuff up and show you guys how to set stuff up that I have no interest in running myself. ERP solutions, I don't have a need for an ERP solution today. I don't have a business that I run that is more than me. I am the employee for my business where I do computer repair, and I have like 2 clients in this entire city, and that's about all the time I have to serve them anyways, so it's fine. My little invoice, the Solid Invoice software, works great for that. I don't have 10,000 clients that I'm trying to manage for something like that. So to me, the barrier of entry to Solid Invoice was low. It's a simple piece of software. It works great. I can use it. ERP solution is just too much for what I need. But for somebody else, it might be a perfect solution for something that they've been trying to get going for a while. So I hope when I do those things, it helps you guys. I don't always keep them running, and I feel bad because 2 or 3 months later, somebody finds that video and asks me a question, and at that point, I barely remember what I did to put it together. I have to go back and watch my video to even try to answer the question sometimes because it's just been so long. My brain's only got so much space, and honestly, it's full right now already, and most of it's rocks. So, I try my best to remember and help you guys when I can. But yeah, I mean, I love self-hosting. I think it's great. Let me see what else is here real quick. Let's see.
I think self-hosting is a great option.
Absolutely.
If you have the bandwidth, whether it's hardware, whether it's software, or anything like that. But keeping things running, like you say, for 2, 3, 4 years, and you probably used it once, you have to start taking the time to consider, do I need to spin these down and spin them back up when I need them? Because we're digital hoarders as well now, not just physical hoarders.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll hoard things digital-wise for whatever reason, for however long. And what happens? Hard drives get cheaper. So I don't have to just go buy a 20 terabyte drive.
Yep. That's exactly it. The great thing is hard drives have grown pretty nicely, and expense wise. I mean, I look back, right, and I've said this before, and you guys probably you can age me by this, but my first actual PC, not my first computer, but my first PC had 2 megabytes of RAM and a 40 megabyte hard drive. And I have an uncle that when I told him how big the hard drive was, he says, "Oh my God, what would you ever need that much space for? 40 megabytes. I mean, you can't even install the operating system today without like 12 gig. So it's that concept of, yeah, luckily things grow over time and they get cheaper over time. So SSDs are getting less expensive, right? That's the great thing, because when I first started buying SSDs, I mean, it was a luxury for me to put an SSD in a machine. And these days, if I'm going to buy a drive, I really go look at the SSDs first and kind of say, do I need bulk space, or do I need performance, from the thing that I'm buying? And that's kind of the question that I get. I see somebody asking, $4 or $5 a month for Microsoft or Google Mail. Is it really worth self-hosting? That's a great question, and honestly, if you're not trying to do something with SMTP, which we had a whole discussion on the Rocket Chat server. If you guys aren't a member of my Rocket Chat server, you can sign up with your Google account, with your GitHub account. You don't have to create an account on the Rocket Chat server, but it's discussed at opensourceisawesome.com, and we have chat messages there, and people ask questions and answer questions and get ideas. So, think about going over and joining in. But yesterday, somebody was asking about one of the applications, and I was asking about how they set up the SMTP, and he said everything was working with Gmail. I used to use Gmail for my SMTP because it was easy, and little by little Gmail, I understand they're trying to make it more secure, but in that process they've made it a bigger and bigger and bigger pain in the backside. And I've pointed you guys to scottybyte.com before. He chats with me a lot and emails with me a lot, and he was on there answering some questions about it. And he said he used to use the application passwords, and now recently a lot of his self-hosted stuff that has application passwords have stopped working. And stuff with with Google Mail, so he's been switching to some other things. So depending on what you're trying to do, it could be worthwhile to kind of, and I'm paying, don't misunderstand, I'm paying $5 or $10 a month for DigitalOcean, but I run that mail server for me. I run it for my Lubbock Lug as well, so that we have email addresses for Lubbock Lug there. And I run that for my business. It's a business email, but I use that for a lot of my SMTP, and it's the email you guys see on all my videos. So it's worth it to me, but again, depending on what you're doing, if I was just trying to get email and send email, I'd use the free Gmail account. I mean, it's not, I've got a Gmail account, it's not like I don't, it's just when I'm trying to do things that need an SMTP server, it's, to me, these days, it's much less hassle to go do it with my own server than to use something like Gmail. And there's things out there like Mailgun and stuff like that too. I know that, and SendGrid is another one. So again, sticking with the open source theme, if I can run open source software, I try to. I really try not to run closed source software if I don't have to. There's things that today I just don't have a choice with the work that I do in the business that I work for. I can't help it, right? But and with the clients that I serve, they don't have a choice a lot of times. They don't know that switching them to Linux is not a realistic idea, because they have to have software that runs on Windows. So even trying to get them to run in a VM, they wouldn't understand that. And I mean, when I have to go down and tell them, here's how you scan a file, and I really just have to click the scan button, and then here's how you attach that file to email it to somebody. That's not a person who's ready to jump over to an open source ecosystem today. That's a person who's ready to learn the basics of computing, but they're not ready to jump over yet. So try not to mess up their world too much is I guess my theory on that. But that was a good question about is it really worth it? Let's see. Graphene, I see.
Random emails. I was going to say another option for random emails is that a lot of times your hosting providers give you access to free email as well. So that's another option that you're using with Gmail or Yahoo or MS. That.
Yep. Well, and sometimes your ISP does the same, right? They'll give you an email from your ISP depending on who it is, and if you want to use that email, it's great. Their webmail usually is terrible, but you can set that up with a client sometimes and get it to work right. But the whole idea of I'm still on board with self-hosting email today. Now, give me a month and see if my mind has changed. Who knows? I am not above changing my mind about things. That's for sure. Again, Scott was talking to me about LXC, so I've been digging into that because I'm trying to learn about it. He's got some really good articles, and I've been trying to figure out like where does that benefit me over running Docker containers. And there's a few places that I see, so I'll probably start covering some of that. I saw some chat here in the chat room on the Jitsi server about Proxmox, ESXi, VMware stuff. Which one would be better? I'm telling you now, Proxmox is a serious project. That is a killer project as an open source project. That is one that I absolutely believe you could go 100% and just use it in a professional environment and not have to worry about it. It's got the clustering, and it's got the snapshots and the backup capabilities and things like that. All the things that you would want from a professional system. I did look at the pricing on Proxmox, like if you want to get the license. For me, as a home user, it's a little expensive, but as a professional, I'm guessing it's probably not any more expensive and probably less expensive than some of the VMware stuff that you might pay for, or so, Microsoft stuff or anything else that you might want to try to use, as far as virtualization goes. So kind of keep that in mind, from a professional standpoint, if you're starting up an IT business or if you're an IT professional out in the corporate world. These open source tools, just because again they're open source does not mean that they're inferior. You just need to find the right tool for what you're trying to accomplish and make sure it has the things that you need. Another really cool one that I want to cover is XCP, the NG version, and then orchestration, the orchestrator on top of that, which is a pretty nice web interface for doing some stuff. Now again, they've got an open source piece, and then they've got a license piece, and all that kind of stuff that you get extra features and things. But again, it's a really nice looking piece of software as well. But Proxmox right now for me is killing it. It's a really great piece of virtualization software. KubeVirt. I'd have to check that one out. I haven't seen that before, but I'll look at it. KubeVirt. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I like that suggestion. Let me check over here on the comments. I'm trying to keep up with you guys here. Sogo. So I had a friend who set up one originally for our Lubbock lug for SMTP, and it had Sogo on it. I'm trying to remember what it was called. iRedmail, I believe, is what he used to set that up. iRedmail, and he was trying to use that to set up the email. Or he did use that to set up the email, and it had Sogo built in, as I recall. Or something he could turn on, anyways. Oh, there's Scotty right there. I see you, Scott. Hey, how's it going? I see him online there on the video on the YouTube side. Click Nest Server. Yeah, Nest Server has Sogo as well. Good, thank you. You guys are doing great in the chat, answering each other's questions, by the way. Thank you. Guacamole. Oh man, Scotty's got a nice guacamole set up too. I think he's got it documented out there on his site, scottybyte.com. That's another one that I'm looking at trying to get set up soon. I haven't done it yet. I've done Mesh Central and I've done Remotely, which are two absolutely incredible ones, by the way, for the IT guys. Again, if you're looking for ways to do virtual, or not virtual, but remote desktop stuff, man, oh man, Mesh Central is a killer one. Remotely's got some really nice features if you don't need Mac access, because Remotely does not have Mac stuff built in, but it can do Linux, and it can do Windows. But yeah, Mesh Central does all three, and I use it here even at the house to remotely control a lot of my machines, because again, my office is separate from the house, and middle of the night, if I realize I need to do something that's out on the office machine, I don't want to walk out here. So I'm lazy, but it's also dark, and snakes are prevalent in my area, so I'd rather not step on one by accident who's trying to chill out on the sidewalk or something. But yeah, those are some great ones. So Guacamole looks like another really cool one. He let me log into his server that was Ubuntu over there, and it was pretty great. So yeah, those are awesome. The pros and the cons. So I need to get back to the topic, because I get off topic really easily. I talk too much. The pros is, again, control. Just a huge amount of control. There's not. I hate to say cons. I want to say the things you should be aware of. Let's put it that way. These are not cons. These are things you should be aware of. You should be aware that if you want to self-host, you need to have the time to support whatever you're self-hosting. You should keep up with updates, because IT in general is not update averse, but they're very cautious about updates. But sometimes that makes them lag on updates. And when you hear about big hacks, maybe it's just a breach. A lot of times that's because IT is lagging on updates, and it's not because they're not good IT people. It's because they're trying to be cautious and not blow up their systems with updates and things. But when you're self-hosting, if you want to protect your data and you want to protect your home and your network, you really, really need to keep up with those updates, because whenever things come out with updates, a lot of times there's security vulnerability updates that are in there, especially even with Linux. Run your Linux updates, man. It's important. A lot of those things are security vulnerability fixes, and a lot of Linux systems today, Pop! OS has it, Mint has it, Ubuntu has it, I'm sure Fedora has it. They have options where you can just check a box that says, just install my security updates automatically, don't even ask me. But on like optional updates, ask me or let me do it manually, right? So check those boxes, make sure that you're keeping things up to date. But that's one, you really need to keep things up to date, and that's an investment in your time and making sure that you're keeping your systems, you know, up to date. Watchtower has turned into a tremendous tool, by the way. I was really not jazzed about Watchtower when I first heard about it, because I kept hearing people say, well, it updated a bunch of my stuff and now all of my things are broken, and that just freaked me out, because I'm one of those people that I go read the release notes before I update stuff to make sure there's not a breaking change that's going to affect me. When I went and read about Watchtower, I was like, oh, well, there's a label right here that you can put in your containers that says, don't update it, just let me know that there's an update available. So you can kind of set that, and I've gone and set that on the containers that I don't want it to auto update, and I go and update them myself after I check the release notes and things. And it's been great. And the things that I do let it auto update so far, no breaks. It's been really good, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, updates are super important. Whether you're self-hosting in Docker, whether you're self-hosting on Linux, whether you're self-hosting on Windows, it doesn't matter. You know, if you're self-hosting, you've got to keep up with those updates, and that's an investment in time and an investment saying, I want to keep my stuff secure and safe. Investing in learning is the other thing. That's a huge investment, because I don't just know these things when I make these videos. And if you knew how much I cut out of my videos that are already really long, you'd be like, oh my God, where does he find the time to do this? Like I literally cut out easily hours of stuff probably every week, because I mess up, I make mistakes, I realize I did something in a horrible order and I don't want to have to deal with it in post edit. So I go back and just re-record completely. I make mistakes. I take very strict notes. I work off of my notes and I go through that, but I still make mistakes a lot of times. So allow yourself to make mistakes. Leave yourself time to fix those mistakes. That's really important when you're self-hosting, is understanding you're going to make mistakes and you need time to fix those things, because if you don't leave yourself time, you're going to just go, never mind. And you're either going to not get what you wanted out of it, which is not a good way to feel satisfied with what you're trying to do, or you're going to leave it and you're going to forget about it, and it's going to leave you vulnerable in some way. It could be a security vulnerability. It could be something else that you didn't realize you were doing at the time. So give yourself time to learn, give yourself time to make mistakes, and give yourself time to improve. It takes time, and I'm glad you guys are on this journey with me, because again, I'm learning every week. For months, people kept saying, hey, create a Docker network and then you can refer to your Docker container by name. I just kept seeing it and I kept saying, okay, I'll get there. And finally, when I did it, and it was on that video that I did with IbraCorp, he told me the same thing, and I was like, all right, you know, these guys have been telling me this for months. I'm going to do it, and we're going to see if it works. And I said, and I'm just going to have to shut up about it after this. I mean, I have to shut up about it. You guys were right. What, duh, right? I mean, of course you know what you're talking about. You're not going to lead me down the wrong road. But yeah, I didn't really know if it was going to work, and I didn't want to mess with it. Now it's kind of the way I like to run things a lot of times. But yeah, I'm learning as I go. You guys are helping me learn. You guys are pointing things out. When I did one of my videos not to walk down to the pub, I mean, it took your time, right? Your time's worth money. It's going to cost you somewhere to run anything. Nothing's completely free in this world. So, and if you can name something, please tell me what it is. Somebody tried to tell me once love. I was like, you ain't married. You don't understand. So, nothing's free in this world. But you know, it's worth the investment a lot of times. So just understand that everything has got an investment level to it, and it's going to take you a little bit of investment. Whether it's money for a VPS, whether it's money for server hardware, whether it's an old machine that you could have sold, but instead you're going to repurpose. You know, just keep in mind, there's a little bit of an investment, you know, monetarily that goes in hand in hand with these investments we're talking about. So finally, from the self-hosting things I feel like you should know, learn about Docker, learn about Docker Compose, and if you get the chance, jump into Kubernetes and jump into doing those kind of things. I'm not there yet, but I want to get there, and I'm trying to move into it. But I'm going to tell you, that's the way the world is going today. Corporate world, open source world, doesn't matter. Containerization is important. Learn about LXC, learn about LXD, the daemon. At the same time, you know, figure those things out, because if you want to move into a really great job area, that's going to be one. The other one is home automation. And again, with Home Assistant, I'm not kidding. I foresee the handyman of the world moving into the home automation guy. And if you don't know those things, or if you want to be the IT guy who moved into the home automation guy, I think there's going to be a massive market for that. Where you guys as self-hosters who want to do those things, you're going to have a great opportunity to build a